Welcome to All Gems No Crumbs, where the vibes are high and the tips hit every time. I'm your host, Ikenisha J, entrepreneur, millennial mama, wife, and your go-to for real talk on building your brand, protecting your peace, and living your softest life yet. Each week, I'm dropping gems to help you level up in business, mindset, self-care, and everything in between without the fluff, pressure, or burnout. No crumbs, just gems. Let's get into it. Hey, jewelers. It's me, Ikenisha, and welcome back to All Gems No Crumbs. And today I want to call out one of the biggest lies and most common lies that all entrepreneurs tend to say. Yes, even you. Okay, I know you're probably thinking, no, I haven't lied to myself. Yes, you have. I guarantee you have said this. Even if you're an ambitious woman, ambitious business person, whatever, I bet you have said at least once, I don't have time. And I'm here to stand firm and say that's a flat out lie. You do have time. The real issue isn't a shortage of minutes in the day. It's how you are consciously and unconsciously choosing to allocate those minutes. What you are consistently prioritizing or not prioritizing. And ultimately, whether you are being honest with yourself about where your precious hours actually vanished. So, today, my goal is to help you peel back the layers of that no time excuse, get crystal clear on where your energy and focus are going, and most importantly, I want to equip you with the tools to discern between tasks that are simply keeping you busy and those that are actually moving the needle in your business. We're also going to break down how to prioritize what truly builds revenue, strengthens vital relationships, delivers tangible results, all that stuff. Because sis, the varnished truth is this. No one, and I mean no one, is genuinely too busy. We simply make time for the tasks and the priorities and the opportunities or whatever we deem most important. Because I hate it even when people say, like in relationships, oh, I didn't have time to do this for you, or I didn't have time to do that for you. Yes, you do. Again, people make time for those they want to spend time with. So you have to treat your business the exact same way. Now, I had a real come to Jesus moment because it seems like, I've said this several times before, YouTube has like that big brother thing going on. It tends to know when we need to see a specific video. So one of my favorite YouTubers, I started watching her back in 2018, is Sunny Lenarduzzi. Love her. She is brilliant. And one day, I didn't know I needed to watch this video, but I always watched every single video she posted. So I watched it. And she casually mentioned doing a detailed time audit on herself. And something about the way she described the clarity that it brought her deeply resonated with me, and it was like a light bulb, I would say a little light bulb, flickered on in my brain. And so naturally, your girl had to put on her detective hat, and I had to try it for myself. And let me tell you, the results were both humbling and incredibly eye-opening. And I discovered that I actually had significantly more time in my day than I habitually told myself. And again, the problem wasn't a lack of hours. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I always say that to myself. I have a little reminder on one of my bulletin boards. I have the same 24 hours in a day as Beyonce. And look at what she does. But it was my existing hours that were being quietly siphoned off into all the wrong places. And often without my conscious awareness. For example, the endless scroll of social media, like the rabbit hole of overthinking content, redoing things that were already fine. And yes, even those moments of just zoning out on the couch, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? We all need that downtime. But there were times where I would just get severely distracted. And there are times where I would have to be on Instagram in order to research what content I should be posting. And then, of course, I also get on Instagram in order to schedule my content because you can schedule on Instagram. But that would cause me to scroll or get distracted. And I would just be sitting there and they say, 35, 45 minutes have gone by and I've only scheduled one post. So that moment of stark realization definitely gave me a good dose of humility, and it made me stop saying I don't have time. And more importantly, it was incredibly empowering because for the first time I had tangible data, and y'all know I love data, on where my time was actually going. And with that awareness came the undeniable understanding that I had the power to make significant changes. And so I started doing some things. First thing I did was I started using something, I don't know if it's on Apple products or any other phones in that manner. I have had a Samsung Galaxy type phone since like 2000, what, 11, 12? I don't know. I've had them for, since the third one came out. And there's a mode up there called focus mode, and it allows you to pick what apps you can and cannot open for a certain amount of time. So you set a timer, and those apps are blacked out and you cannot touch them. That really helped me. And then I started doing something also where I would set timers. So I would set a timer where I would work for about 15 to 20 minutes or 30 to 45 minutes, depending on my mood. When the timer would go off, I would give myself a 5 to 10 minute break. And then when I would go back and set another timer again for working. And I did not know that this was an actual method. It's called the Pomodoro method. I think it's what it's called. Pomodoro method. And again, I did not know that that was a thing. I thought I was just, being smart, but apparently it was already a thing. I also have theme days for my schedule. So like one day, like, okay, for example, so Tuesdays would be just for creating YouTube content. Sundays are just for analyzing and creating emails. Mondays are for, client work. So that would keep me focused on certain things and not get distracted on doing so many other things that I thought I needed to do. And then the last thing that I started doing was not overwhelm myself with my to-do list or my daily to-do list. I never have more than 3 things on my daily to-do list because I am one of those people where if I don't check off an item off my to-do list, then I feel like I failed. And so I did not want to give myself more and then feel like a failure later on when in reality I hadn't failed. But that was just how my mind works. So I also organized my to-do list with the help of ChatGPT. Of course, y'all know I'm going to use ChatGPT for something. And I am able to organize it and see it, and then I'll print it out. And then that makes sure I'm doing the right things. But beyond just where my time was going, the audit that I did also highlighted something crucial. I was spending a lot of time on tasks that felt productive, but they weren't really productive. So I was like checking emails. I was organizing my digital files. I was tweaking my website. And these things felt like work, but when I took a step back, I realized they weren't really pushing my business forward in a significant way. And this is where the real learning began for me. And what I want to share with you today is understanding the critical difference between being busy and actually engaging in activities that move the needle in your business. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road, my friend, okay? It is so easy to get caught up in tasks that make us feel like we're accomplishing something, like we're ticking boxes, we're responding to messages, we're making small tweaks and all those things, and they can feel important. But are they the actions that truly propel your business towards your ultimate goal? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. So think of busy tasks as a necessary maintenance, the operational things that keep your business ticking over the day or day to day. Things like responding to customer service inquiries or something, basic administrative tasks, minor website updates. Don't just keep redoing your website over and over and over again. That's not what I'm talking about. While these are important to some extent, they often don't directly lead to revenue, stronger relationships, or significant results. You can spend your entire day on these and feel like you've worked hard, but at the end of the day, you're not going to see any real progress on your bigger objectives. And I know because I've been there and feeling exhausted and then wondering, what did I actually achieve today? And then the answer is nothing. Then I feel bad and feel like a failure, and then we start all over again. So needle movers, or things that move the needle, are strategic, high impact activities that directly contribute to your core business goals of increasing your revenue, building meaningful relationships, or achieving significant results. And these are tasks that in the early days for me were like creating and launching my first digital product. This was a direct path to generating income, obviously. Reaching out and building relationships with other entrepreneurs in my niche, or also starting to branch out, now with my Chamber of Commerce and other local community colleges and going to actual networking events that are in person in my city. Also, consistently creating valuable content that address my ideal audience's pain points. And this built trust and also has attracted potential clients. And the key is to develop the ability to honestly assess each task on your to-do list and then ask yourself, how directly and significantly will completing this action contribute to my core business objectives, which should be, again, increasing your revenue, building relationships, and achieving significant results. If the answer is not very or indirectly or minimally or whatever, it's highly likely that it is a busy task and not one that is moving the needle. So how can you tell the difference? You're going to do an impact assessment. Before you dive into any task, I want you to take a moment to consider, what is the potential impact of successfully completing this task on my business goals? High impact tasks are almost always needle moving tasks. Low impact tasks are usually just ones that are keeping you busy. Next is revenue connection. Can you draw a clear line between this task and an increase in your income, either directly or indirectly? Needle movers often have a tangible link to revenue generation. And again, I'm going to talk about relationships again, because people tend to think that you don't need those. And I have always said and believed that it is not always what you know, but of course, who you know. So, will this task help you forge stronger connections with your audience, potential clients, partners, key influencers? Strong relationships are the bedrock of sustainable business growth. I promise you they are. And then tangible results. Will completing the task lead to a concrete outcome that can obviously move your business forward? Think about things like a launched product, a secure partnership, or a significant increase in your leads. And once you start to recognize the difference between busy work and moving the needle, the next critical step is to learn how to prioritize effectively. How do you decide where to invest your limited time and precious energy? And my guiding principle has become focusing on activities that directly fuel those three core pillars: revenue, relationships, and results. And so I have some oh Jesus, I said that all the way wrong. So prioritize revenue generating activities. These should often take precedence, especially in the early stages or when you're looking to scale your business. So think about actions that directly bring money into your business, meaning sales calls, actively marketing your core offerings, optimizing your sales funnel, developing new income streams. If it directly contributes to your bottom line, is usually a top priority. Now, I want to go back to networking, because networking should be strategic, not just aimlessly or just doing it to say you did it. You should be actively engaging with your audience. You should also be providing exceptional customer service, because you don't know how word of mouth could just spread, because that's also networking. You should also be nurturing key partnerships and ones that could lead to long-term, gosh, y'all, I can't talk today, long-term growth, referrals, and opportunities you might not have had otherwise. And I want you to make time for these, even if the immediate financial return isn't obvious. And the task that could be developing a more efficient system for your operations, like creating a valuable piece of content that attracts your ideal client like a magnet, implementing a strategy that can dramatically improve your customer experience. Prioritize tasks that will have a ripple effect and contribute to long-term success. I often use a little filter, and I will ask myself, will this task today make a noticeable positive difference in my business a month from now? If the answer is yes, then okay, this is something I need to be doing. If the answer is probably not, then I'm not going to do it, or it's something I could schedule to do later, or, possibly not do it at all, like I said. Now, once I started identifying and prioritizing those needle moving tasks, I started to see a real shift in my business growth. The busy work started to take a back seat, and the time I invested became more impactful. And you all know that that's the thing I want to do this year, is have impact. And in order to do that, I need to use my time wisely. And so I want to also let you know something, because I feel like this is something I have seen and heard and felt myself. But reclaiming your time is one thing, but I want you to know that you're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You could just be misaligned, because you should also learn how to not only manage your energy, manage your time, but manage your energy. Because there are people who do things differently. You know, you have those people who are doing that quote unquote millionaire schedule where they get up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and they do their morning run and their workouts, and they meditate, and they have this type of breakfast, and they all that stuff that you see on YouTube and social media that's truly not real, but it makes you feel like you're behind or that you're failing because you're not able to do those things. And I'm here to tell you, like, I'm not one of those people who can get up early in the morning, because I don't do my best work in the morning. My best work and all my energy tends to come around 5 o'clock. When 5 o'clock hits and the sun is about to start going down later on, that's when I get a boost of energy. I am truly a night owl. I can start my day at 5 or 6 in the evening, and I can keep on going till 3, 4 a.m. Like, my house can be a wreck at like 9 o'clock. And then by the time everybody else gets up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, the house is spotless, or I've moved some furniture, or I've done this, that. So once I started once I started accepting that part of myself, I started building my schedule around my energy and not just the clock. So I used to think I was lazy, but I wasn't, because I was trying to do what everyone was telling me to do and what I was seeing, which was do all the stuff in the morning, da da da. But I was just doing the hardest stuff when I had the least capacity to do it. And this is why some of y'all have planners, which I understand because I used to be that way, full of tasks, but no movement. It's not the planner. You don't need a new one. It's not even the time management. It's your energy strategy. And you got to learn and figure out, when do you have the most energy? Create your schedule around your energy and your life. Because if you're a mom and you got kids and a husband and all those things, then there are times where you are able to say, I don't have time. But you got to figure out how to make that time. So let me be super clear. I want you to understand that doing a time audit was one of the most eye-opening things I've ever done in business. And it forced me to get real about what was actually taking up my entire day, what I say yes to without thinking, how often I self-sabotage in small ways that add up. And because I want you to feel that same clarity and breakthrough, I did create a little time audit workbook. It's completely free, don't worry. And it's not that big. It's just for you to track your hours so you can spot your time leaks, restructure your week with intention, and get real about your distractions. And you can find that link in the show notes or the description box if you're watching or listening on YouTube. So make sure you get that and truly be honest with yourself, because time doesn't lie, but we do. And if you want to get ahead, stop saying you don't have time. I want you to track it, own it, restructure it, protect it, because time isn't your problem. It's your priorities, your energy, and your boundaries. And once you fix that, you'll stop trying to get it all done and actually start moving with purpose. Okay? So I know this episode wasn't that long. And so if you loved it, be sure to follow, subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, share this episode with someone who needs it, share the time audit workbook with someone who needs it, anything. And be sure to do that same thing. Catch me next week with another gem of advice, because you already know I'm not going to leave no crumbs.